So anyways, so I don't know, I woke up this morning and I was thinking about a million things as usual. About like 80% of them being being art related, and I don't know. That's really just how my brain works, and it's what gets me through the day. You know, it's what gets me out of bed in the morning. But I had like, I don't know, like, I guess the equivalent of a nightmare, but it's a reoccurring sort of nightmare, just a bad dream. And it's because I keep thinking about, like, this. You know, this comic. And how, like, the numbers are so low now as far as, like, people reading. I mean, on like DA. And I keep thinking, like, well, are the numbers that low because, I mean, the book has been going on for so long that maybe the readership, maybe people that were into it grew out of it. You know, your tastes change as you get older sometimes, most times. And you just sort of find new things. I mean, the internet is huge. The world is huge. There's a lot of different things to do. And you want to do them all. So if you stick to the same things, the same patterns, life gets boring. And that makes sense. It makes total sense. I don't do most of the stuff that I did 10 years ago. I don't read a lot of the stuff that I was enthusiastic about 10 years ago. I don't listen to the same type of music or even eat the same types of foods. I don't dress the same as I did 10 years ago. I don't do any of that stuff. Humans are constantly growing, constantly changing, evolving, you know, redefining ourselves. But, I mean, was it that? Is it that? Or, I mean, is it that the story is boring? I mean, really, is the story boring? That's what I kept wondering. Or is it because it went, I guess you could say black and white. It's sepia tone, but black and white, you know, it's not color. I mean, there's something to be said about color comics. Of course, this isn't the time to say it. But, I mean, is it all of those things combined? I just constantly wonder about that. All those things, and I guess I think about them so much that they tend to show up in my dreams now. That's weird. But I mean, I guess, no, it's not really weird. It's fairly normal. It's always happened. But there's this one part, this one sort of change in the dream. You know how dreams sort of morph into one another and they'll change? But they seem like they're all the same dream, but you can tell it changed. This is when it changed over. I keep having this dream that's sort of like a flashback to this incident that happened. Gosh, I guess it was like a month ago now at this 2-day convention that I did. It was a small convention in Atlanta, and it was a good convention. It was a really good show. But there were these kids that came to the table, and there was a couple of them. I mean, they may have been around the age of, you know, like between 11 and 13 or so, maybe 14. They were young though. but really enthusiastic about my work. And they just had comments about everything, and they were just really into everything, and you're just looking at everything, and it's just like, okay, awesome, good, great, that's cool. But I mean, they bought stickers, they bought postcards, and they walked away with some of the little mini postcards that I do. I thought maybe I had an example somewhere around here. Oh, I do. Oh, Lord. Like these. I don't know if that even shows. Oops. Like these little mini postcards. They're just tiny little business card size things, little freebies. But they took those and they walked away. But a convention is only so big, so sometimes you just keep wandering around and around and around in circles. And that's what they did. They kept coming back around to the table, and they'd stop and they'd look and they'd talk, and occasionally, depending on which time around they were coming, they'd buy something. That was cool. But there was one particular time that, I guess that's the point of the nightmare, the bad dream. I should say, it's not a nightmare, it's just a bad dream. Nightmare is defined very differently. But, so, one of the kids he was very opinionated, very talkative. And when I say opinionated, I don't mean in a bad way. I mean, like, he had questions about everything and told you how he felt about the images that he was seeing, the colors, and what he liked. And I was like, okay, that's good. But he walked up to the table and he points at the laptop that I have that displays like a bunch of images from the comic and stuff. And he pointed at the mini postcards and he went, so is this a comic? And I'm like, yeah. He was like, so I can read this. And I'm like, yeah. And he went, because I went to the site and I couldn't see anything. Immediately, I was just like, oh, shit. I mean, I didn't say it, but I thought it. I mean, it was just that weird feeling where you just sort of deflate and just completely cold. Just because I knew what happened. I mean, I knew. But I asked him anyways. I looked at him and I went, how were you looking at the comic, the website? And slowly his hand came into focus. And I mean, and he was right there in his hand, he had a phone. And I was just like, yeah. And I had to explain to him that because of the format that I chose a long time ago now, that you couldn't see it on like phones and tablets. That sucks. It does. It sucks big time. I mean, because he wasn't disappointed, but he was disappointed. And I was disappointed in myself because I knew this was coming. I knew this was going to happen. And I procrastinated. I did that thing that so many artists do, and I procrastinated. And I didn't change my format because I knew that mobile devices didn't support my format. It took a while for me to figure it out. I mean, when I first started, I didn't actually own a phone or tablet that I could check on. You know, I mean, in 2009, late 2009, I was just like, okay, well, I'm doing this for the future. You know, we're all going to be looking at comics and books and stuff on our phones and tablets, and so I was doing it that way, but I didn't own one, so I couldn't check. And then when I finally got my hands on one and I saw it, I went, oh, well, maybe something's broken. But no, I knew the truth was just it wasn't supported at all. And in my brain, in the back of my brain, I was thinking, oh, well, maybe they'll come around and eventually it'll get supported. Yeah, I was coming up with every excuse in the book. But the truth was, no, they were never going to support that format. It's old, you know, Flash, the Swift format that I use. And I mean, my whole thing is just so that I can do this with it, so that I can be able to go back and forth. And then, you know, with books like Myth of Ustra, you can click on stuff and hover over, and then you hover over stuff, and it's interactive, you know? I just wanted a self-contained comic. I wanted it all to be in a case, like an issue. I wanted it to replicate a physical comic issue. But online, I wanted it all to be all-encompassed in package. Instead of like loose pages, like, you know, every time you want to go to next, it, you know, pulls up a completely new page, you know? I mean, I wanted mine to be, when you go to next, you go to the next chapter, you know? But it just, I don't know, I mean, I feel like I let that kid down. I mean, but I let everybody down because I realized that that's what happens at these conventions. Is I'm telling people all about the comics and stuff, and they're getting excited about it and everything, you know, and they walk away from that table and they're not waiting until they get home to try and read that comic. They want to read it right then while they're thinking about it, while they're excited about it. And they hit the site, and I can actually show you. Here, let me show you. Let me see if I can actually, because I saw it just a second ago. Yeah, I found it. I did a screenshot of it so you can see. But this is what they see. It sucks. That sucks. Those words suck so bad. But this is what they see. Just this gray box. I don't like that. Because that's like a wall. That's a wall. You see that and you just go, oh, no thank you. You either think it's broken, well, it's broken. I mean, it is broken. But you think, oh, it's broken, or there's something keeping me from getting into this site, you know, like a paywall or something. But I think most people just think it's broken. They think, oh, his stuff is broken, and he doesn't maintain it. But you look at it and you go, and you walk away. I want them to see this. I want them to. But I have to change the format. I mean, right now, I can't even do that because I have no real income at all, being unemployed. I don't know, but changing all of this really, I mean, this entire site, and updating everything so that I can exist in the world that I wanted to exist in back in 2009. This mobile world that I knew was coming, that I knew it was going to happen. I have to be able to build a new website and figure out HTML5, but I mean, I'm kind of a dummy. So I'm going to have to get somebody else to do it for me. And make it so that the comics still do this. So that people can go to an archive and they can pull up a chapter and, I don't know, and click through it. And stuff like this can still happen. But I keep having that dream. It's funny. I generally wake up happy, excited about making art, drawing, and writing. I mean, it's really what wakes me up. It's what gets me up. It's what keeps me wanting to live. It's wanting to work on more stuff and finish some of these stories. It's all I think about. But lately, I've been waking up, I wouldn't say in a bad mood, just kind of waking up kind of sad because of those bad dreams. My brain won't let it go because it knows I need to change, I need to do something about this. I mean, I know. Right. Alright, well, that's enough rambling for today. Mm.